Hi, it's Kada. My two favorite doll lines are Barbie and Monster High. They are by far the dolls that I have the most of. And since they're both made by Mattel, I've always dreamed of a Barbie Monster High crossover. And when Mattel recently announced that that's exactly what they were doing, it was like the stars aligned. Best day ever. It's about Fang time. But here's the thing. So it's September 6th. So far we've only seen some concept art. And the art shows Frankie as Barbie. You know, the classic black and white striped bathing suit, the high pony, or the solo in the spotlight dress. Friggin' awesome. I mean, would love to see that. And yet, what I was really hoping for was Barbie as Monster High. Barbie as Universal Monsters. So, since it is spooky season, I thought, what better time to do my own version of Barbie as Monster High characters? So, I have 4 collector's Barbies. Yeah, I'm using silkstone for 3 of them. The classic 1958 Barbie face, yeah, we're turning those gorgeous girls into spooky ghouls. So our very first Barbie as a Monster High character is the fabulous Cleo de Nile. Oh, I love Cleo so much, and look at how fabulous this Barbie looks in this Egyptian mummy costume. So now what I'm doing with these Monster High recreations is I'm giving them more of like a Barbie fashion show. So they're Monster High inspired, but they're still kind of high fashion because, you know, it's Barbie. So think of it as like Monster High on the runway. And that's another great reason to use the Barbie Fashion Model Collection Silkstone dolls for these. So let's go over this from head to toe. So this fabulous Egyptian headdress is actually from a Monster High collector's doll. I'm going to remove this in a minute and show you a little secret surprise that I have underneath it. This outfit is a Barbie dress that I have that came with a matching skirt, but I thought that this gold one looked a little bit better for Cleo's favorite colors, which seem to be a lot of black and gold and sometimes some light blue. Of course, these great like King Tut looking leggings. These actually are Monster High pants that I tried to really force onto Barbie, but you know, she's got kind of a larger booty, so they don't go all the way up, so the skirt actually fits really well to kind of conceal that a little bit. Since this is a sleeveless dress, I thought she needed more up on top, so I gave her sort of this poofy shouldered capelet that's very fashionable. And after that, it wasn't enough. It didn't say Cleo enough to me. So I wrapped her in a couple of different strands of ribbon. This burlap ribbon sort of giving an ancient mummy vibe to it, paired really nicely with the classier gold ribbon that Cleo would most certainly wear. Just a nice Barbie necklace that I thought matched really well, and it actually kind of hangs down the back of her a little bit. These are actually Monster High shoes, which I put on all the dolls. The Monster High feet are much bigger than Barbie feet, so Barbie feet fit in them real nice, but it does give them sort of that big feet vibe, which is fine because that's classic Monster High. And then of course, I gave her a little handbag that does belong to Monster High, a little pyramid handbag. But here's the surprise. Underneath this headpiece, Barbie has her own Egyptian face markings. So some of the older generations of Cleo had a real distinct Eye of Horus marking underneath her eye. I gave her sort of the subtle version of that, which is actually really fitting for Generation 3. The Eye of Horus is way more subtle for the Generation 3 Cleos. I also gave her that classic ancient Egyptian sort of lip detail. That was really hard to do. I had to cut a piece of gold sticker in a rectangle and try to get it to stick to this silkstone Barbie's lips. And also, Cleo wears a beauty mark on the side of her face. It's almost like a little spiral star. So I went through a bunch of my stickers, and it took me forever to figure out which one would look best on Barbie without really standing out and looking super fake. This one is very subtle, but gold, very nice. And these earrings also belong to a Monster High collector, Cleo, the same one that wears this headpiece. And I chose this gorgeous fashion model collection silkstone Barbie as Cleo because, I mean, her hair was so perfect. I love it when Cleo has bangs, and it's just sort of not super long, just medium length black hair. It just gives her such a classic, both Barbie yet sort of retro, almost like Elizabeth Taylor as Cleopatra, right? Don't worry, I did not draw on this silkstone Barbie's face. I put a piece of tape under her eye, and then I drew the symbol on there with Sharpie. But I think my Sharpie might have slipped a couple of times. And there may be like a dot of Sharpie on this silkstone Barbie's face. I know you guys. I know. So I think maybe at the end of this video, I am going to remove the tape, see how bad it is, and then try to get Sharpie off silkstone. So I'm going to take you along with me while we do that, and stay tuned to see if I'm successful at that or if it's a major fail and I'll need your help with finding solutions. So definitely stay tuned to the end for that. So while Mattel is doing Frankie as Barbie, here is my Barbie as Frankie. Oh, look at how great. Isn't this fun, you guys? Oh, the hair is perfect for Frankie. And to be honest, this doll, the Barbie Fashion Model Collection Black and White Forever Silkstone, is the reason I'm doing this video, because I looked at this doll, whose hair is normally in a beautiful updo. I couldn't resist to take her hair down because I really wanted to see what it looked like. It is so pretty. So when I saw this doll in my collection, I thought, that is Frankie. It's the perfect Frankie because, you know, Frankie often has black in their hair. So Frankie does have that two-tone hair, often with a lot of blue in it. And I do have some blue strands that I really wanted to try putting in Barbie's hair, but it just wasn't working out. This actually is a dress of Frankie's that clearly you can tell is a little bit tight on Barbie, but works so well. In a lot of the classic Frankie outfits, Frankie kind of gives off a real schoolhouse vibe, I thought. Like, I feel like Frankie's outfits are very much of the school uniform look, which I love it, and especially really great for Barbie. So I gave Barbie a great houndstooth skirt, a nice long sleeve white shirt to kind of help hide the fact that the dress is really, really small. I gave Barbie kind of a schoolgirl looking tie. This actually belongs to the David Bowie doll, which is so perfect for Frankie. I gave Barbie a Frankie handbag, just some simple metal earrings. But here was the funnest part about making this Barbie as Frankie. I gave her neck bolts. These neck bolts are actually earring backs. Like, they're perfect. And I did the same thing where I put tape on her legs and I just drew stitches on there with pencil. So the tape should come right off and not leave any marks on Barbie. This sort of high bracelet that I put on her calf down here was meant to sort of be in honor of the newer generation of Frankie, who has a prosthetic leg. So the older generations of Monster High Frankies, they don't have a prosthetic leg, but the new ones do. And I was really tossing in my head, how should I do a prosthetic leg on Barbie? It wasn't coming together. It wasn't looking good. So this was my way of just sort of giving it a quick little shout out without completely giving Barbie a look that I wasn't going for. So yeah, our gorgeous, fashionable Barbie as Frankie Stein. This next one, I was not expecting it to turn out this good. This is Barbie as Draculaura. Look at how cool that is. Oh my gosh. I am just delighted with how this turned out because I had her in a completely different look. This retro looking Barbie, which is the only silkstone we don't have here, but she is still a collector's Barbie. She's the 12 Days of Christmas Barbie, the first one, who has such a retro 50s look, especially with that classic 1958 face mold. So she really needed a classic sweet vampire look. I mean, that's what Draculaura is, right? And Barbie, she can pull that off. So this actually is a Draculaura dress that was ruined because the sleeves were cut off, but that was great because then I could just tuck it in real nicely to give it a bust for Barbie. But then she needed more up top. So this is actually fishnet Barbie stocking that I turned into sort of a gothy sweetheart look for Draculaura. Since the dress was really short, I added another skirt, and she's also wearing more fishnets down here, and these are Draculaura shoes. That is a Draculaura purse. She definitely needed a choker. These are heart earrings that belong to another Barbie. I believe this hat is a Draculaura hat, and then I weaved in a pink strand of hair into Barbie's black ponytail, because Draculaura often has pink in her hair. The hardest part were the fangs. These fangs are just too teeny tiny, and I mean slivers of stickers. When I first tried this, I cut out 2 little triangles for fangs and put them on Draculaura, and she just had the biggest oversized fangs. Like, she looked like a walrus. So I actually ended up giving them to the next doll I'm going to show you because they fit better on those lips. But this 12 Days of Christmas Barbie had such tiny lips that she needed much, much smaller fangs. So these were really, really hard to do because I mean, like, my fingers aren't even that small. Like, I need a magnifying glass to do that. Draculaura also has a heart, like, beauty mark, and this is also a sticker that I had from various number of stickers that was also really hard to do. And then it was also a big challenge to try to get it on her face because, again, so tiny. Oh my god, I dropped it. I dropped it? Where did it go? But yeah, she turned out so good, didn't she? A gorgeous couture gothy sweetheart, Draculaura. And lastly, we have the classic Clawdeen. This was so much fun to do. I gave this Barbie kind of a rocker chick vibe as Clawdeen. You know, obviously we needed some sort of animal print, so this is actually a Barbie shirt and I think a Barbie fur vest. Clawdeen likes a lot of purple, so I thought this purple Barbie layered skirt fit really well. And then to give it more layers, I wrapped this extra piece of sort of shredded fabric around the skirt, and then a belt to give it sort of a more rocker sort of layered vibe. Leggings, and then these great Monster High boots, which have kind of like a little devil tail to the back of them. I gave Barbie some just sort of plastic bracelets. I believe the green one actually does belong to Cleo. And this other one really, I think, fits well for Clawdeen's character, along with the dog paw necklace. What I was so happy to find were the ears. Because at first, the only thing I could find in my collection was bear ears. And I thought, you know what, I think I can probably make the bear ears work. So I colored them black and put them on her, and it just looked like Mickey Mouse Club ears. So I was like, no, that's not gonna work. What am I gonna use? And then I remembered that I have the Batwoman Barbie. And I've never taken the ears off her until now because, hello, they are perfect for Barbie as Clawdeen. And what was super funny is that I started to put earrings on this Barbie's ears. You know, I was thinking, oh, what earrings would Clawdeen wear? What earrings? And so I started to give her some earrings, and then I was like, hold up, wait a second. Clawdeen's ears are up here. She wouldn't have side of face ears. So I gave her a little hoop earring in her ear up top, just one quick piercing in her ear. Fits Clawdeen perfectly, doesn't it? And then here are those fangs that I initially had for Draculaura that ended up being way too big for that Barbie's lips, but fit pretty well on this Barbie Fashion Model Collection Best to a T doll. Yeah, maybe still a little long, but that's okay. Werewolf. All in all, I feel like this classic rocker vibe for Barbie makes her the perfect Clawdeen. Here is our fashion designer Silkstone Barbie, who is portraying Cleo tonight. When I put tape on her face and then painted on this Eye of Horus, I may have gotten a little bit of Sharpie underneath the tape. We're gonna find out and then see if it'll come off. Oh, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. There's a tiny little dab right there, actually on both sides. There's one right under her eye and on top of her cheek. But you know what's kind of interestingly ironic and funny is that she has an actual beauty mark right there. So it almost just looks like more moles. But I want to get that off of there. It does suck that that one is so close to the eye. And that one is on top of blush. Well, let's see what I can do. I hear that magic eraser might work, but I've only got this kind of mangy one. It's sort of embarrassing. But I really want to try this tonight, so I have dampened it a bit. So let's see if we can just rub a little bit off. We'll start with this bottom one, and hopefully it doesn't pick up any of her cheek stain. Degrade so fast. Oh, it's definitely lightening up. That's actually not bad. I mean, it's not great. But let's try the one under her eye. How am I going to do this? Oh, look at that. That one came off pretty well. In fact, I think I could be really satisfied with that. Let me see if I can do it a little bit stronger on her cheek one, because I kind of used the tip of my nail to really give it some friction. Well, no. That one's not completely off of there, but you know what? I think I'm okay with that. Shoo! Big sigh of relief. She still looks beautiful. Don't do stupid stuff like I do. The more you know. So, those are my version of a Barbie Monster High crossover. Which Monster High characters should I have done? Laguna? Abby? Let me know in the comments. And I don't know if I have the skills to do some of those characters, but if you let me know which ones you would really like to see, I wouldn't mind giving it a shot. And what do you think about the upcoming Barbie as Monster High crossover and Frankie as Barbie? Is it going to be pretty awesome? I'm on the fence. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, I hope you're having a fabulous weekend, and if you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!